Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke and it is now the 21st of September 2024. It's pretty morning. I'm noticing, like I said, autumn technically begins tomorrow, but when I look out in the morning, it just looks like it already looks like we're almost into October. I mean, it's really quite pretty. You know, the poison ivy's changing beautiful colors. It turns both yellow and red, and right now there's a squirrel knocking a whole lot of it down. Because I'm wondering if he's the same one who steals the insulation from my basement. Because there's a little one. I caught him in the basement once. It was a little red squirrel. Kind of went in and he went out. But anyway, yeah, it's been quite a evening and quite a day and an evening. I went out to visit one of my friends who's sometimes on this live stream in the morning. We went out to dinner last night and we had a really nice dinner. It was really good. Dessert is always, and I should know better than to actually get dessert, even though that's kind of a thing that we do. I should have just stuck with, I don't know, just drinks or something. But it was just, or just coffee, because it ended up being just too much, because my stomach just feels like, and I feel like I've like gained like 20 pounds just because my stomach's been like that lately. In any case, on the way home, I ended up hitting a deer, which absolutely sucks. Now, fortunately, it's not like the car, well, not in my opinion, the car's not totaled or anything like that, but I was coming down a 45-mile-an-hour road, and as I was coming down, this deer like ran out into the middle of the road, and it kind of stopped. And it was literally, it's like, this is my car, I'm driving, and this deer just suddenly comes right here, and I was like, well, you can imagine what I said. I slammed on the brakes, and the deer went by, but I still hit the back of it, and it hit the right side of my car. Now, it ran off, and it's apparently okay. Now, I drove, my lights were still on, everything was fine. I didn't feel like my car was weird, so I was like, okay, maybe it was just a scratch. Ha. Not with a Hyundai. Hyundais are made really cheaply. If it had been any other kind of car, there might have been a little dent. Oh, good morning, Pat. And good morning, Suda. Yeah, I'm just talking about how coming back from dinner, I hit a deer last night. So, fortunately, the deer is fine. Because it just, you're driving 45 and then all of a sudden it just jumps out in front of you. And, I was just like, holy crap. So when I got home, I looked at the front of the car. I had left the lights on and the lights still work. One of the lights at the bottom is kind of barely hanging in, and it's like made a hole like in the front by the grill and near where and over by where the front right tire is. So, oops. It was like, because, you can't really, when that happens, you really can't avoid. I mean, you can try to hit the brake and but I couldn't swerve because it was right in front of my car. And as it went by, that's when it happened. So, yeah. So I was looking at that and I'm like, well, it's not like it's because of the way that it is and because the way the bottom light is, I'm like, I wouldn't drive it any more than locally. So more than likely all the plans I had for next week where I was going to meet friends and stuff are probably all going to be canceled. Because, unless they're willing to come out here, which isn't going to work for the kind of plans. They all live like on the other side of Jersey and they're coming after work. So I don't see them coming over here. So, and I wouldn't ask them to do that. So, good morning, Joanne. Oh, I hope you have to let us know how you're feeling. I hope you're feeling better. I know you've had a rough week. I was just saying how I hit a deer last night. And, so I'm going to have to, normally I would just take it down to the body shop and have them pay for whatever it is. And it's not a huge thing. Like, I know it's not a kind of a thing where, like I said, I don't think they're going to total the car. I think it's just going to be a repair. But, and although you never know with insurance companies, but normally I don't go through insurance. I'll just pay for it myself. But as we've talked about, I'm not exactly flush with cash, and I don't want to be putting thousands of dollars on a credit card, right? So, so I'm going to probably have insurance come out and look at it. Oh my God, am I okay? Oh yeah. I mean, that was like, it felt just like a little bump in the front. Okay. But when I got home, of course, you know how it is. Nothing's ever just a little bump. It was just that right side was taken out a little bit. Like it was almost like it punched a hole in it. And again, the light's intact. things are there, but it's the plastic around it. They make cars today out of plastic, like out of this kind of plastic. I remember when I used to have my old Corolla, like that car, like things like that would happen, and you might get maybe a very slight dent or something, which is something I can live with. I don't care. I don't, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to that. But something like that, I'll probably get pulled over for. I don't, if I leave it. So yeah, so this week it's just going to be like the grocery store and back. I'm not going to be able to go too many places which kind of sucks because it's beautiful. I'd like to go drive someplace, go for a walk. I probably could find a local place to do that where it's not, I don't want to take it too far, but to go visit my friends this week, unless things get settled quickly. Insurance companies are not in the habit of adjusting claims in any kind of timely fashion. Even my insurance company, which is a pretty good one, so I just figured, that way I just have to pay my deductible, and then they will take care of the rest. Of course, it'll probably jack my insurance up for next year, which I don't really need, and which is kind of ridiculous given that I hardly drive anywhere. And it's ironic, too. But anyway, I don't want to belabor that. And of course, my guides were last night kind of like, it's okay, just chill out, you're fine. It's going to be fine. You get it paid for, it's fine. That's our mantra of the day. It's going to be fine. So I'm just trying to stay in the mindset that it's going to be fine. No, they're timely on collecting money. Oh yeah. Well, I just paid my policy off for the year. And good morning, Alex. Sorry, you're joining the fact that I hit a deer last night conversation. And yes, I'm okay. And the car's, it's just, there's a hole in the car in the front. Not one that, again, it's drivable. I mean, I don't even feel like the alignment's been effed up or anything, but it's just, it's going to have to go to the body shop. There's no way I'm going to be able to just be like, oh, it's a little scratch, I can leave it, because the plastic just breaks easily. You could, have a tree branch fall on it the wrong way and it shatters, because that's the way cars are made. Good morning. I have such crazy migraine for 24 hours. Oh my God, I'm glad you're okay. And you have a migraine, so I'm sorry. So you haven't been feeling well, and then Joanne's not been feeling well this week, and then it's weird. And then I got the message last night, insurance is the biggest investment with little return. We never get back what we put into it. Oh yeah, exactly. And and again, I have NJM who are pretty good. They're pretty reasonable, but I haven't. But again, so I don't normally go through them when something like this would happen, because stuff like this does happen around here. I mean, I live in the country. These things can happen, but this was just one where I was just like, what? I don't know what, I don't think deer think, okay? Good morning, Sam. I don't think deer think. I think they just kind of, it's like, oh, there's a vehicle coming. They don't know what 45 miles an hour is, right? But they just think, yeah, this is a great time to go around in the middle of the road. So, in any case, I'm just really, I can finally eat solid food. Hooray, okay, let's focus on the good stuff today. Yes, so, yes, I'm so glad, because I know you posted a few things elsewhere about not exactly feeling that great. So yeah. So anyway, we've been concerned about you this week, hoping that you're going to be okay. But yeah, when these things come up, it is interesting, because I had gotten a call from my sister last night too, that my mom, I think I was talking a little bit about her. I told you my aunt had to go into the hospital, and I guess she's okay. She's home, and they've done whatever they've done. Cause she actually just had a fall, and she was worried that she broke her nose, I think is what it was. But I don't know that that's what happened. They did x-rays and stuff, and I think, whatever they gave her, she's okay. Stomach flu. Oh my God. Horrible. Ugh. Yeah. That, oh God, that's the worst. And then, so my mom last night, I guess she has a woman who comes to bring her communion, because my mom doesn't want to drive to church and stand in church, anymore, just because of certain issues she has. And so they come and bring her communion. And I guess the woman who brings her communion called the neighbor went over and knocked on the neighbor's door, because she was very concerned. My mother's legs are apparently really, really, really swollen. And, and we've known this, and my mom has called her cardiologist, and they actually put her appointment back another week. And she's like, but my legs are completely swollen. Oh yeah, well, we can't see you till the end of October now. And she's been very, very woozy. And the other day my sister told her to stop taking the blood pressure medication, because she doesn't need it. They had her on it. They don't monitor it. They just prescribe something else without checking her blood pressure. And doctors are the worst. Oh yeah, these doctors, I swear to God, her cardiologist, anyway. So what they did was they they had, okay, she because she's 87 and just does what she thinks that her leg swelling has something to do with having to take her blood pressure meds. And my sister and I are like, no, your blood pressure's low. Like, don't take the blood pressure medication. Well, apparently they took her blood pressure and it was 93/27. Okay. And because she's still taking the medication, my sister told me, she goes, oh, I told her to stop taking it, and she said she's going to stop taking it. And literally the voice in my head said she's not going to stop taking it. And I'm like, somebody almost has to like take it out of the house because she won't take it. Or she will take it. That's the problem, because it's there and she thinks, well, it's there and the doctor prescribed it, so I have to take it. Yeah, that's too low. That's actually like if my father's blood pressure had been that low, she would have been raised taking him to the hospital. I mean, that's too low. And then she's not, I'm tired, and then, so one of these days she's going to get up and she's just going to fall or fall down the stairs, or, because she cannot, and that's the problem too. She's supposed to be sitting with her legs elevated and she's outside doing all this stuff because, well, I need to sweep the driveway. No, you don't. You need to sit down and put your legs up. But she never, ever, ever likes to hear that from either us or the doctors. So, I don't know. So, we're kind of a little bit on edge here as to salty food. Well, not with my mom. My mom has had congestive heart failure, and that's what we're worried about is about to happen again. She's on a diuretic right now, but, and she also doesn't drink any water. And my sister's like, she's like, oh, well, I take a sip now and again. She's like, no, you need to be drinking water. Like, you need to flush out of your body, right? Yeah. Yeah, my mom is, no, my mom is very, very tiny. I mean, she's not, I'm built like the other side of the family. I'm not built like her. She's like a bird. She's really tiny. And, she is just, she's already got, she's had that. She had a heart stent put in. She's had all this stuff. And the doctors just keep shrugging their shoulders and saying, oh, it's probably this. Oh, it's probably that. And they don't do anything about it. They don't investigate. I understand she's an old lady. They're not going to do surgery, whatever, but, yeah. Anyway, so point being of all this is not to kind of just tell you my litany of things going on, and we're all talking about things that are going on, right? That are going on with us this today and this week. And I do have some good news too about things that are going on, but it kind of brought to my attention. I was like, okay, it just seems like, remember we were talking about the eclipses and we were talking about changes and revelations and things that are going on, and I feel like some of the things that are happening, like, because as eclipses can bring that, sudden change. For me, it was a deer that brought the sudden change to my thing. But there's also this other stuff that's going on. And, that's just some of the stuff that's going on. My shoulders are in shambles, sitting here with a heating pad. Ugh. Yeah. I feel like we all feel like we've had the crap beaten out of us, It's just like, yeah, it's just really, there's just so much that is, that just suddenly seems to be either piling on, either it's trying to release itself, or if it's trying to, I don't know, or if it's just one of those things. Now, I did do, obviously I always do a quick reading before I start here. And my legs were all in pain last night too, like literally. I had them like right at the top of my thighs, which is something to me that usually is hormonal. But, that used to be before I was going to, have a period or whatever. And then I don't have those anymore. So I was like, okay, well, that's joyful. Transit self. Yeah, itself. Yeah, exactly. There's some kind of a transit or transformation that seems to be happening. And remember, we were still at the end of Virgo here, so the idea that a lot of this would happen in the body, because Virgo is about the body and the nourishment of the body and things like that, is not too surprising. That there's almost like this, I don't know. I don't know if I want to use the word purge. It's just like there's just stuff that seems to be coming out, and as things come out, it's kind of like there's the healing that goes with it, and it can be painful. So, but basically I got the card that they did this, a lot of this stuff seems to be marking kind of the edge of something. Like I pulled a, what do we call these? The Essential Oil Oracle cards, and we got the Magnolia card today. And the keyword is amplify. Amplify. Everything's amplified. The trigger statement is I can't get anything right. The true statement is I'm in divine time. It says harness your loving energy and watch as one miracle unfolds after another. Yeah, and that kind of captured the way I felt about it. I said, you know what? I feel like all of this is happening because we've been talking about endings now for quite some time. And I feel like it's like this is like that energy that comes in and just kind of ends it. But what was interesting is when I pulled a few cards this morning, because we had the I think the trust card was at the center of the reading today, trust. And the inner feeling was letting go. Okay? Is this the ending? That's what I keep wondering. Well, yeah, I feel if it's not the ending itself, it's at least like this is the symptom of the ending, I guess. Because it was showing that our minds are still too much involved in the process, even though we do have a clarity about things. There is a new beginning coming in. But the outcome card was the Master. So when this card shows up, that says to me that the things that are going on, I don't know why. I was reminded of a long time ago, I had read Saint Teresa of Avila. She was, of the Catholic saints, I liked her a great deal. And Saint Teresa, like her experiences, like the Interior Castle is a really like profound book. I mean, you have to get past all of the language of self-loathing that's in it that was obligatory at the church at that time. But there's a lot in there. I get that feeling too. Yeah, this is it. Like something. This is like that. We've all been like waiting for that shoe to drop, right? Like when I pull the runes, it's like a Hagalaz moment, or it's a tower moment where boom, something comes in and it's like it just disrupts everything. Because you have a certain plan, and then all of a sudden it just kind of explodes, or we just suddenly start to feel. Because think about it, even when you just have physical problems, you may have things you're trying to do, and when you're physically blocked from doing it, that's a kind of a thing too. I mean, it can be. There does seems to be this, yeah, and I have seen cards of ending too. Like last night when I woke up, I was seeing like the World card again, like something is the completion card, really. So what reminded me about Saint Teresa was there was a time when in her biography where they were talking about how they were walking somewhere and she was really sick and they were dragging this cart like through the mud, like the donkeys or whatever that were dragging the cart, because this was that was the era where that was transport. And then they got stuck. They had trouble getting across a river. There was a problem, and she got really frustrated. And same situations, different results. Right, exactly. It's just we all have our own way of experiencing things. But she sits down under the tree and she says, she starts to meditate, and because she has these ecstatic experiences, she connects with whoever her divine guides were, whether whoever that she of course interpreted it as God, whatever. And the message she got this was God's way of showing his friendship. And she's funny. She goes, well, it's no wonder you got so few friends then. And it was like, because she was also kind of mouthy, Teresa of Avila, which is another thing I like about her. But she had said, but that's kind of what I feel like this moment is. It's like, God is showing his friendship by effing everything up for you. And you're like, this is why nobody likes you. This is why people are like, you know what? Heck with religion. To be fair and to be honest here, it's just no. I mean, there's this card talking about something happening in divine time. So, it's and it's really weird because when I was pulling cards on last night, because I'm thinking, because to me, okay, the incident itself, I mean, it's okay, it's a bump. Quite literally, we'll figure it out. But it's more the finances of it that are bothering me, because I'm like, I'm at a point where, they've got me into a lot of this work. I'm like, okay, I'm just barely making enough money to do the things I need to do. And now you're going to throw something at me that could cost a couple $1,000s. Like, what the heck, And literally, I kept getting the Horus card, which is like the card of friendship. And I'm like, no, you're not. It's not an act of friendship. This is an act of you. But I mean, okay. But it kind of points out the fact that and the fact that the Master card was involved. It gets to the fact that when we feel like we're being blocked in everything and we're frustrated, and I know certainly there's a lot of people here who can identify with that feeling. It's almost like I don't know. It's trying to break our hold on our need to control the situation. Because when certain things happen, you can want to do something all you want. But when certain things happen, it's just like, okay, well, now I can't. It would be like having like a major power outage all of a sudden, or, a hurricane comes through and, I don't know, something you plan to do. Okay, well, something gets busted or destroyed, or you were planning on flying away and taking a vacation. Yes. And, and then all flights are canceled for days, and, you're like, okay, so what are you going to do? Make a canoe and paddle your way across the Atlantic if you're trying to go somewhere. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't fight. That's a current that's so strong you can't fight against it, really. And so you kind of have to be where you are and experiencing what you are. You have to experience where you are. So anyway, it's we talked a lot about slowing down, and as you know, I mean, certainly I can just say in my own personal case, I have a real hard time slowing down because I have a lot of irons in the fire. So even if I try to say, well, I'm only going to do 3 things today, that's going to turn into 6 things because, there's something that comes up, or, messages that come in, or just things that happen. So I almost feel like it's like a real, there's the fact that the MasterCard shows up says, okay, yeah, there's something here where we're being stopped from doing something because another direction is about to appear of some kind. So now, again, I'll be doing a reading, our morning reading in a few. Maybe it'll tell us something about what that direction is going to be. And it may be different for everybody. I mean, it's not going to be the exact same set of circumstances, obviously, for everyone. So it's just really... it's interesting, but that's usually how change works. I was seeing a lot yesterday about unexpected, and I'm like, that's interesting. What's the unexpected thing here? But there was also a sense of don't rush to act on things right away either. There's just this sense that we need to kind of keep seeing what's still going to unfold. It's almost like stopping us so that we'll stop and look at what's actually unfolding. And I've talked about that being a similar experience that I've had with the guru as well, because she will do that. Like it'll be like one catastrophe after another, and you're just kind of looking at her like, really? But there's a point to it. There's a sense of trying to break you of a certain mindset or of a certain thing that you're doing. My friend said this to me the other day, the same one I was talking about my Azrael experiences with. She had said to me, because she listens to these, she doesn't get to be on these morning coffees, but she does listen to them later. And she said, do you think that some of what is happening, like she was talking more about the creative stuff, okay, where we're told to just stop and do something unimportant, right, in inverted commas or quotes or brackets, whatever you want to call them. And she said, well, do you think maybe that's just a way of stopping you and trying to get you to do something differently, because you're like, oh, okay, well, yes, I'll stop and do this thing, but I still have to do all of these other things. And it's just like, well, no, maybe it's trying to stop you. And I was like, that's probably a very good point, that maybe it's trying to, that it's like, it's trying to, we're doing what we think is the normal, same old. But it's almost like we're being stopped from doing that because it's trying to say, stop, look, see what the new, or just don't do anything right now because there's something coming in. I had some kind of a weird dream last night about that, actually. Something about the idea of, and I don't remember because it was more like I was looking at a card or at something like that, but there was an idea of void, okay? Like a void of nothingness, of like being in a nothing space. That's not what I was envisioning in the dream, but it was like I was looking at something that said, yeah, this is about being in the void. So it's like a little bit like about being in the gap. And we're in the gap and we're trying to plan and organize in the gap. And it's just like, no, stop doing that. So that they throw something in so that you kind of stop, that you stop planning or you stop obsessing over something or you stop. Because you do get to a point with things where you're just like, okay, you know what? Every time I make a move, something happens, so let me just sit here for a minute. Let's just wait this one out a little bit. So that seems to be the kind of the energy there. I was going to mention some good news. I might as well throw that in. We are having more people enroll for the school. Pat was her first, but now Alex is also enrolled. And then there might be some other people. I don't know. There were some people who had expressed an interest, and I think on your podcast, Joanne, there were some people who also had expressed an interest. So, yay! So yeah. And I finally heard back from some of the professors who have been really busy. We are going to live stream 2 days next week because 2 different days were good for them. So I said, you know what? Let's have 2 YouTube live streams. Let's chat with one professor one day and another professor another day. And Kate, I have to listen to her messages. Very excited about it. Yes, this should be really great. So we're going to do a live stream on Wednesday on YouTube, actually. So I will post the details here and on my other social media. And I can email it out to people who want it too. But I'm going to be doing, we're going to do 2 live streams. And, Max is going to do it with me on Wednesday. And then there's going to be, what's the other one? On Friday, we're also, is going to be Joanna Madlock. We're gonna chat. And I haven't heard back. I have to check my email to see if Kate can, because I know I have another conversation with Kate about something else Friday afternoon. So I don't know if she'll come on and join us for the other. But it's going to be about what they're teaching, but we're just going to also try to have more general conversations about what we're doing in the school. And they're all excited. They're happy that there's going to be students now. They're like, yeah, okay, because at first, you're not sure. You put things out there, and then I have done things like I had a school once called Scholars of the Borderland, and I think one person had ever signed up for it. And it was similar kind of it was actually a different kind of a mission because it was more like the podcasts I was doing. It was like taking people a little bit beyond the podcasts into certain classes, but I wasn't really satisfied also with the way that was set up. And I hated working through WordPress because trying to sign up. Wix at least has a very simple sign-up form. They take a lot of fees, but they, which annoys me, but it's a very simple kind of a sign-up. At WordPress, it would be like, oh, you have to create an account, and then it gives you all of this text-based stuff that you have to go into. I'm like, this isn't the 1980s. I mean, come on, do better, And this was like MemberPress, I think. It was supposed to be a course management system, but logging into it, and I didn't like the way any of it looked, and they started charging me. I started with it because it was fairly inexpensive, but I really hated the way it looked, so I eventually just took the whole thing down and trashed MemberPress and just said, nope, we're not doing this anymore. And now there's some things about Wix that leave a lot to be desired. Those of you who have signed up, you're going to notice that it's going to be like an empty course shell, but the thing is, we're not doing it like, there's going to be materials and stuff posted there. So if they have materials, if they have a bibliography, if they have links, we're going to post that stuff there, and also the Zoom links to go into the class. Because they do have their own live streaming function on Wix, but I haven't tested it, I don't trust it, and I don't want to create a situation where people can't get in and stuff. Zoom is a pretty much unknown quantity, and I can record and I can keep it. And Wix doesn't give me a whole lot of space to record or to keep anything. So it's interesting personally, me have all these body pains in the last few days. I signed up for the new school for Reiki 1 for October, and the shift feels like good stuff coupled with some baggage. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think it is that it's more like the release of the baggage. It's like you're moving into a new space, and as a result, it's like anything that's kind of weighing us down, whether it be physically, whether it be emotionally or mentally, it's like it's pushing it out. It's kind of like if you have, if anybody of you ever had surgery, okay? I've had 2 or 3 surgeries in my life, and they're not major. So a couple of them were actually, one of them was outpatient, like where I went to the hospital and I was home, within, sometimes it was in the outpatient unit. And right when you get out of surgery, it's like, okay, the thing has been excised from your body. In these cases, they were tumors they were breast tumors. And, they have you jacked up on whatever anesthesia you're on. there's the Neptune and Pisces stuff, right? That's the anesthesia you're jacked up on, right? And then you go home. And actually, for me, the first days after surgery, you actually might feel pretty lit. Like, I'm good. I can do this. I can get up and I can do stuff. And so, or I can go back to work tomorrow. I'm fine. And then you do that, and all of a sudden you are freaking exhausted, and your whole body hurts, and it aches. Because it's like the endorphins and stuff have come up to work on the healing process. Yes, it feels like aligned to true purpose. Well, in my case, yes. It's like, yeah, it's trying to get you to heal stuff. And a lot of times, like, there's the idea of, you know, before you move ahead, make sure you've got the old stuff settled. So it's almost like an acceleration of getting rid of the old stuff. I hope that makes sense. And it's that healing process, because this actually is reminding me very specifically of the surgery I had in 2011 when I had to have a tumor removed. And and when I got home, I actually had my friend's daughter pick me up from the hospital, drop me back at home. And I felt pretty good. And so I was doing stuff, you know, doing laundry, walking around, and I was like, yeah, I could probably go back to work tomorrow. I don't need to. But then I went back to work. I literally felt like I was going to have the flu. You know, absolutely. Thank you. It feels like a privilege to be going through this with others, even in different ways. Well, yeah, and it's interesting because when we're in a group setting like this, you start to see that, you know you're going through something, and everybody else here is on some kind of we're all in some kind of transition or on some kind of path, right? And now you're seeing how this is working in a group setting too. Because a lot of times we have things that happen, and yeah, certain things are going to be absolutely individual to us, right? There's going to be stuff that you're going through that I'm not going through, that Pat's not going through, that Joanne's not going through, that Suda's not going through, Sam, it's not going to be, we're not all going through the same thing. It's not like we're all being directed to do the same thing. But we are all clearly at this point of transformation that seems to be about, we were talking about the outer planets, you know, there's something going on that's bigger, that trine between the outer planets. And that's, you know, and also I think what it also highlights is what we've talked about when we say that everything is connected, right? That there are connections between people. So when they say what happens to you kind of happens to other people as well. I will bring this up to people sometimes. I remember when I was married, my ex used to get so annoyed when I did that, because he says, well, I'm talking about me. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not just about you. It's like, yes, it's happening to you, and I'm sorry it's happening to you. Like if he was sick or something was going on. But trying to point out, it's also happening to other people. It's not like the universe has singled you out as a victim. Like it's happening to other people. In his case, he was just, wanted to, say, woe is me, and I should be exempt from everything because, I'm, because this bad stuff is happening to me. And I'm like, well, okay, this bad stuff's happening to you and you need to recover from it, but it's happening to other people too. And he's like, why are you always making it about other people? Why are you always making it about, Well, because clearly as somebody in his case who supposedly practiced Buddhism, I'm like, well, you're kind of missing the whole point of, the illusion of separation, right? So, in any case, let's get on with our reading. So let's just see what our message is today about this transformation that's going on, because clearly all of us are feeling it. We're not feeling it in the body, we're feeling it in other ways. Or just a frustration of the path forward kind of being blocked. So what's the we're going to specifically ask for all of us here, like what does this say about the path that we need to make? Okay, so interesting. Okay, wow. All right. So we have a reading. Would you believe this is only my first cup of coffee? Usually I'm on my second by the time I get here, but I was up late last night, and then I woke up at 6:33. I was like, oops, I better get up and get ready. That's why I look as tired as I do this morning. Okay, our center card is sorrow. Okay, now this is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is all the things that, the way in which the mind makes us despair about our condition, the way in which we become frustrated, the way in which we might, this is showing a monk who is sad. I think the story for this card has to do with his own master dies, and he feels like his master has died, and he has not become enlightened. And after the night after, he sits up all night, and of course, And then the next morning, when he awakens, he becomes enlightened. It was like the sorrow was somehow a catalyst for him moving to the point of enlightenment. And it's interesting because the inner feeling of which we're unaware of is awareness. Awareness of what's really there. What forget this shadowy stuff. What's the real person that's there? What's the real thing that's going on here? Okay? And it's interesting that this card, this is the Chariot card actually, but that it shows almost like this person who's like, in despair of something or fending off the thing that's coming at them, right? But what's happening is they're actually, it's like the body is burning up, like it's burning off and the real thing is coming out, okay? And I find that an interesting image just given the fact that all of a sudden, many of us who are doing this kind of work or who have done the Rouhani or have done, different stuff, all of a sudden it's like certain things that are hurting are now hurting more. Like I know in the case of at least a couple of you, there was like a relief from that and then it kind of comes back. Phoenix. Oh yeah, like the idea of the phoenix that rises from the ashes. Sure, that's actually a good image as well. Yeah, because it's the idea that you are, that something has, and that's actually a good image with the tower because the idea is that something's burned down but the new thing is kind of popped out of it. There's a new thing rising out of it. And the external feeling of which we are aware. Back to our friend the devil, the conditioning card. You're a lion, not a sheep, right? How many times have we've it's like that's like another mantra we have in the transition life coaching. You're not a lion, you're a sheep. You're not a sheep, you're a lion. So yeah, did I say it the other way? That was interesting. You're a lion, but you're not a sheep. So so we're aware that you're not a sheep. You're not meant to just and it doesn't necessarily a lion doesn't have to necessarily be something angry and roaring. A lion can just be saying, you're not just in the crowd. You're not just another face in the crowd. Okay. When we think of sheep, we think of a herd where they all kind of look the same, right? And so our our advice is Ace of Cups, and I got Ace of Cups. The Morrigan gave me an Ace of Cups this morning too for a reading. So go with the flow. So this is a new beginning. Now, of course, Ace of Cups implies a new beginning. For some people, it could have to do with love. I'm not sure if that applies to anybody here. Probably not. But I don't know. Maybe it applies to me. Who knows? But it's this go with the flow to me is more like this is about opening up to feelings. A lion just doesn't have to announce it's a lion. It just is. Right, exactly. And it has a certain, when you think about lion being connected to Leo energy, it's just like there's just a grandeur there. There's like Leo is like sun energy. It's what you turn your attention to, not a lion trying to fit in with the sheep. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's the story on this is that this lion gets separated from its pack and it gets raised with sheep and it thinks it's a sheep. And so then when other lions come along and they're like, dude, you're a lion. And he's just like, no, I'm a sheep. And they're like, no, come over here. And they show him his reflection in the pool to show him that he's actually a lion and not a sheep, So it's that kind of a thing. We forget who we are, okay? That kind of almost gets into the whole idea of like the masks we wear. We tend to forget who the real person is, right? Yeah, you're a lion and not a sheep. But this is the emotional opening. Remember, we've all been working on the heart opening, the emotional opening, vulnerability, and also opening up to intuition. Like a lot of this, that's a work that a lot of people here are doing. So this is the beginning of that opening. It's like saying, okay, so to do that, we need to release all the sorrow about, sorrow that goes along. Yeah, exactly. Conditioning that goes along with sheepness, as we might call it, as the philosophers would probably call it. So many people trying to judge me on their criteria. Yes, and the offering to open the heart and not seeing with the eyes. Yes, and then in Chinese restaurant, authenticity is your superpower, right? And you're over it. Yeah, exactly. And part of that, like Sudha has pointed out, is also the idea that you are not letting the crowd determine who you are. Okay, and that's been an important lesson for a lot of people too, because we get very frustrated with other people and the way other people may present to us, and like I said, no matter how much you try to fit in with the herd or try to do what everybody else thinks is right, there's still going to be people who look down their nose and go, oh, well, you're not doing a good enough job, and there's always that, and you have to reach a point where you go, Okay, well, let me tell you your outcome, and then I'm going to tell you a little story that Stephen Colbert told when I went to, back when he used to do the Colbert Report. I actually had gone to see him. This was probably more than 10 years ago now. But he told a story to the audience, and I'll tell you that story in a minute. Okay, so this is integration is our outcome. Okay, so there you go. This is what's happening here, where it's an integration process, but like a lot of things, it's like, yeah, I mean, probably Phoenix energy is a very good way to put it. It's like we're out of the ashes of what is going away. We're letting go of the sorrow for that. This is a 9 card, right? Yep, you're great, but you're so sick of that, right? Yeah, and so it's just like, okay, this is that process of letting go of all the things. As things start getting left behind, you're like, oh, but what's going to happen to that thing? What's going to happen? I'm worried. What is it? Wait a minute. Was the new thing going to be like that? Is that going to be like that? You start to let go of all that stuff and start to see clearly where it is that you're going. Okay? And so you're taking one of the old that you're still going to retain. You're going to get, recycle or reintegrate or, whatever it is you're going to do, alchemize with the stuff that you're going to get rid of. Okay, so that seems to be the message. Okay, the Stephen Colbert story, let me tell you this one. He had told us a story. That was the time when George W. Bush was still, this is how long ago, was still president. And so it was pre-Obama. And it was, it must have been. Maybe it was like 2007. And that was the year he had done the White House Correspondents' Dinner, because there's always a comedian who does the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And usually they're making fun of the press, so they get vilified for that. Wayne Dyer said that in a talk, and I Think I Can See Clearly Now. Yeah. Oh, no, God, visions of Neil Sedaka now. But in any case, it was, okay, so Stephen Colbert's telling that he says that, so he did, and I remember he did this bit where he wanted to be George Bush's White House press secretary or something, and he does this very silly bit, and like people just stared at him, like nobody laughed, okay? And, he kind of went forward with this thing, and then afterwards, when he was done, I think it was Lawrence Fishburne who was in the audience that came up to him and said, hey man, good job. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, I don't think any of them liked it. And Lawrence Fishburne turns around and he looks at the audience and he goes, fuck those people. Just like that. And so that's kind of the mantra. Fuck those people, I mean, it's just, yeah, that's kind of the way that I see that. That was, and of course, if we look at Stephen Colbert now, whatever people think of his comedy, you have to say he's gotten to be pretty darn successful. Yeah, that's going, yeah, people. But it was funny. But that's the story that I think of with that. And when it's like about, because the crowd is sitting there, and of course the crowd there, interestingly, is the press. It's the press, and it's some political figures too. And certain celebrities, but they were not, and of course they only single people out in the audience. So, Wintergreen is our other card that we've pulled, and the keyword is trust. Trust. What if something happens? That's the trigger statement. What if something happens? The true statement is, I take my hands off the wheel. Well, maybe figuratively. You are not alone. The universe is working with you. Relax and enjoy the adventure. That's the card. That's why it keeps saying, like, yeah, it's fine. Your spirit guides are all going, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. What are you worried about? And it's like, well, I'm worried about the stuff that hurts, but, trust the process. Yeah, right, exactly. Trust where you're going, because it's, I think all of us here, I guess, feel that we are, just let go. We all feel like we're at this end stage of something, and not really sure what to do next. And our mind's continually trying to, it's like it's playing a game, like, okay, it's 20 questions, how do I do this? Should I do more this way? Is it more this way? Is it that color? Is it this color? Should I do this? Should I do that? And you don't need to play the mind games. You can just see what happens, So yeah, interesting kind of set of readings today, on this particular topic. And so we're just almost about 7:45. So I'm just going to mention again, yeah, we're going to do the 2 live streams for the ISFM for the school next week, and very happy that we've got people joining. I always feel like if we could get like, oh, you're welcome. If we could get like 4 or 5 people into this school, even if we just have 2 like doing projects and like maybe 3 or 4 people auditing or something, like just enough to kind of get some discussion and momentum going, I feel like that would be a really good start. And then if there ends up being more people in the future, we can do that. Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, and I will see some of you on Sunday, probably many of you on Sunday. And yeah, I'm going to send out the links and the invites for that today. So, you know, given that Wix can't, that's going to be interesting too when I'm doing the classes. I guess we can just put the Zoom links each week in the classes because you know, for some reason Wix can't handle when people pay for multiple weeks at one time. So I don't know, maybe it'll go better. Oh, you're welcome. So yeah, so I hope all of you have a good day, a better week coming up. I have to go sign up. Yeah, definitely, you know, check it out. We've got this week, and you know, and like I said, if you still wanted the 2 payment option might be going away soon, but if you still wanted that one, then you know. Oh, you're talking about this Sunday. Never mind, not the other. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, go ahead and sign up for this Sunday. Yeah, you still got plenty of time. It's not gonna lock you out. So, yeah. So okay. So I will see some of you tomorrow, and you know, either here or in the class. And so have a great. Well, that too. Okay, yeah. At first, I was thinking that's what you're talking about because I was talking about the school. Then I was like, oh no, wait, she means the other class. Yeah. So. Yeah, whatever it is, you know, if you need more time on the other option, I guess what my point was, if you were going to do that, you can let me know. Okay, Godspeed. Okay, all of you have a great Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow.